Welcome to another edition of the Hurry Up. I'm your host, Adam. Let's go! The draft is finally over. Whew! Man, I loved it, but dang, it takes a long time. You get over anxious and you read every piece of publication you can and get every little nugget of information, and you still don't know some of the people that are picked throughout the NFL draft, not just on your team. But hey, we're going to recap rounds 4 through 6. Enjoyed the second round. Thought the Giants got decent value. Not necessarily reaches, but guys that fell within their range. Unlike, I think, in the second and third round. I think if you got some of those guys in this round, it wouldn't be as bad. But hey, you know what? They obviously were looking for certain players, but here we go. So Daniel Bellinger, tight end, San Diego State. Like the pick, very good blocker, can get downfield, does a lot of the similarities to Caden Smith. Going to hopefully be a red zone threat. You don't know how they're going to utilize them, but definitely will probably be the second tight end on the field when it comes to their big packages, and blocking packages will also be on special teams as he goes. A fourth round pick doesn't necessarily mean a starter, but if you read about him, he's got a lot of intangibles, good athlete, a guy I think the Giants are going to develop well and utilize well in this system, especially in the Dalton Knox kind of role. Remember Brian Dable and said that his offense doesn't always need a tight end, so it'll be matchup based. I think he'll always be active and have a jersey on game day because a guy like him is a rare find. Having a tight end that can block it allows your offense to be very versatile and diverse, because they're not going to say, well, Evan Ingram is on the field or Ricky Seals-Jones is on the field. He's not a blocking threat. I have the advantage. Let's go, right? Daniel Bellinger being on the field allows you to have more versatility in your blocking schemes and more versatility because you don't know if he's going to go out for a pass predominantly on third down. So I like that they addressed the tight end, a guy that I followed through the combine, pretty solid player there. I think he's going to hopefully develop into a solid all-around tight end for the Giants. Nothing spectacular, but a guy that can be relied upon and be the dual threat, like I said. The next pick from Iowa, safety, Dane Belton. I like him. Belton is his good name because he belts people. He really, boom, knocks them out. John Madden would love this guy. Going to be a close to the box type of safety, rangy guy, kind of roam in the middle of the field, helping McKenny and Julian Love with that money backer role. Going to be a blitzer, going to be basically a guy who stops the run, but is able to cover in the pass. Has 4 interceptions last year. Means he was able to make some passes, block, get into passing lanes, and make plays when needed. So I like that. I like that he's going to have that versatility. I like that he comes downhill. And there's going to be a lot of players in the Giants draft class, including their UDFAs, who are going to be very similar, and you're going to like the kid from Kentucky. The safety out of Kentucky, I think, is very similar. Either one of these guys are going to make this 53-man roster. I really do believe that the Giants are lacking in safeties, but the fact that you brought in guys who have some skills, who probably were draftable players, but because of the draft being the way it was, didn't get drafted or landed in the 4th round. So solid selection here. The 5th round picks, I love these guys too. All 3 of them. I really think they fit a need for the Giants, and they're solid developmental pieces. Who knows how they're going to pan out? The hit rate on these guys gets less and less as we go through the draft. But Mcfadden from Indiana, linebacker, reminds me of a young Blake Martinez coming out, or even a Josie Jewell. More of the Josie Jewell than the Martinez. Martinez was more of a big linebacker coming out, thumper. This guy is a big linebacker, but he's going to be about 245, 250. Blake is about 255, something like that. And he's going to be basically your Blake Martinez replacement at some point. He blitzes well. He attacks the line of scrimmage. He knows how to get through blocks. And I think if he was at a higher school, like in Iowa, maybe he goes a little higher. Maybe a Stanford, a program that's a predominant winner. When you think of the Indiana University, you think of the Hoosiers, right? You think of basketball. A lot of these basketball-centric schools, their reputation is their reputation. So you have to really go out there and scout and find the guys. But I think he'll be good. I think it's a good special teams pick. I think he'll help out there first and get some spot duty as we go forward. Remember, Blake Martinez is coming off an injury, so you may want to get this guy in, Mcfadden, to kind of take those reps while Blake Martinez is coming in and rehabbing that injury going forward. What I do think is, I think Tay Crowder is pretty safe, but I do think guys like Carter Coughlin and Cam Brown and T.J. Brunson. Get ready. Y'all are on the unemployment line. You better start checking off that resume. Anyways, the next guy that is there that I liked was Marcus Mckenith, another developmental guard / tackle type. As you look at it, the Giants are getting a lot of guys with experience on both the guard and the tackle spots, which means they want to have versatility if a guy goes down so they're not left in a lurch like the last regime was, where they're scrambling to get guys. He even has some center. Both the North Carolina guys played up and down the line when needed. So I like the pick. I like the versatility, and a guy like Brad Benderson and even Shane Lemieux, you better hope that you come through. Even in Nick Gates, you're getting a lot of guys. Guys are going to be squeezed out just because of money, injury, and lack of playing time. If you're not out there and you can't get evaluated, see you later. Or you're slipping, there's a guy behind you. This regime has brought in at least 10 to 15 guys to come in, so nobody's job is safe. And don't think that they're not going to get a center. I know people are worried about that. Long off season. Still got May, June, July training camp, and then the cut down roster day as well. So there'll be a backup center brought in here at some point. A guy that a veteran that might shake loose that they like, that they can keep and stash away for Joe Feliciano, because he may not be the long-term answer. But don't worry about that. Joe Shane, I trust that he's going to bring in somebody at that spot. The next guy is DJ Davidson out of Arizona State University. Nose tackle predominantly. Going to bring in depth. Giants have Justin Ellis, who's not going to be here. Only 1-year deal. Kind of learn everybody the ropes. Dexter Lawrence helping everybody out there. He's a solid player, nose tackle. So you'll have that. And this guy basically replaces David Moa, right? He is a guy that's a bubble player. Raymond Johnson III, another bubble player kind of guy. A little different in that skill set, but you can see that a Wink Martindale influence is being put on this team. They're getting guys that fit a system. They're not taking a guy and saying, let's hope he fits a system. So Dexter Lawrence will have versatility as well going forward. And we'll go over the whole roster, again, May the 4th, with our big NFC East Roundup show with Mac the Giant fan. We're going to talk about it all and how all the draft picks across the NFC East fit into their team and who we think is going to be good and who's not. But we'll get into that May the 4th, and I'll explain to you my initial thoughts on how me and Mac will explain to you our initial thoughts on the roster going forward. But I like Davidson. May or may not make the team, but we'll see. And the last pick, Darian Beavers. I love it. Absolutely love it. A value pick, a versatile pick, a guy that's probably going to end up being a starter down the road at some point for the Giants. A thumper, a big time hitter, a blitzer. He knows how to blitz because he played defensive line, so he went from safety to defensive line to linebacker, back to defensive line. I reversed it. I got that wrong. He went from safety to linebacker to defensive line, back to linebacker. So he knows how to rush the passer. He's going to be a guy that's going to come in and hit you. Special teams is the name of the game, but don't be surprised if in the preseason you see Mcfadden and Darren Beavers run around the field over guys like Carter Coughlin. Right? I think they bring more versatility. I think you can't not look at the fact that they had a great defense on that Cincinnati team. You have to when you go put up a 13-0 regular season. I know they lost against a better team, but they were playing a team that was a semi-professional football team. In their bowl game. I think it was against Alabama or Georgia, either one. I don't recall. I'm sorry, I don't, but I think it was Alabama, but you're playing a team that sent a ton of players this year to the draft, and also Cincinnati sending a ton of players to the draft this year. But they had 2 corners go, they had a running back go, they had a quarterback taken, right? And now they have a linebacker taken. So five or six guys, and there could have been more throughout the draft, and UDFAs being taken. So Cincinnati has a pedigree this year. I'm loving what they did, and I'm really enjoying this pick. He's going to be one guy I'm going to keep my eye on this offseason to see how he pans out going forward. Remember, the Giants had Reggie Ragland last year. I think they're going to keep 4 backers. Him, Mcfadden, Blake Martinez, and Tate Crowder, and maybe somebody who fits both a pass rush and a edge roll in the middle. I think they can keep a guy like that. We'll see. He does a lot of things. People are going to be mad, but of a Micah Parsons type of player, right? He can rush the passer, putting his hand in the dirt, stand up, blitz from the middle linebacker. But he's big enough where he's not going to get engulfed by tackles and be useless on a blitz. You can really, when he comes in, he really brings the hammer. And he's got a bit of an attitude towards him, a little bit of what the Giants need. You're seeing what Joe Shane is doing and Brian Daboll. Younger guys. Sometimes younger coaches aren't always the way to go. And I think the Giants were young in coaching mindset, but not young in the front office. Now they're young in the front office, so that aggression, that new age of thinking is in there. And I was telling people on the podcast and conversations I have, the Giants have a new regime looking at these players and a new direction, and you can really see where they're going. A lot of the old people, a lot of the old players are going to be gone. They are bringing in right now roughly between UDFAs and drafted players. And UDFA, for those who don't know, is undrafted free agent. 23 guys. That's a good portion of your roster, right? They're not talking about the other 23 to 25 guys that are going to make this roster at the end of it. And you can go down the roster and basically check your yes, no, yes, no, yes, no's going down there. And it's a lot of the future deal guys that are going to be bumped out. The Austin Proles of the world, even a guy like Ricky Seals-Jones, he didn't pay him that much. So if Austin Allen, the UDFA that they rumored to have coming in, does well, who knows? The practice squad is allowing you to have more guys on it, so this is going to help out for some of these UDFAs. So I like what they're doing. A couple UDFAs to watch for. There's a running back from Florida. I like him. I like his versatility. 5'11", about 200 and between 12 pounds and 20 pounds. I looked at two different sites. One said he was about 212. Another one said he was 221. Could have been a typo. But he's a bit of a power back with some speed. I think that'll be good. He can catch the ball in the backfield. He's going to be depth. Again, the reason why I say depth pieces, Matt Breida, 1 year deal. Saquon Barkley, 1 year deal. Everybody else is going to have 4 year deals. They're going to be able to be looked at over the long term. Now, can they be replaceable? Absolutely. Back end roster guys always can be replaced. But it's just good to see that they're bringing in some competition. As I said, Austin Allen, I think he's Nebraska tight end. Big guy. Big guy. 6'8", about 250. Solid player. Another blocking tight end that will compete with Bellinger. Probably will be a practice squad guy while Ricky Seals-Jones and Jordan Aiken leave the roster. I don't think those guys are long-term fixtures here, but I can see Allen at some point being a dual threat tight end with Daniel Bellinger. And then they got an H-back at Oklahoma. I forget what his name is, but he's a fullback H-back guy. He looks the part. I think he's about 6'3", 235. Brilliant. I think he's a guy you got to watch for. And I'll have more of a recap on the UDFAs. They're not all there, so I don't want to speculate. That gets you in trouble. Found out that last a couple days ago when we thought we signed a player. No rumors. It was a rumor, but now with all fake accounts, you got to verify things. So once I get the verification, but there's a rumor saying that he's coming in, and I think that's an interesting dynamic because they were looking for an H-back type of player, and an H-back is now the new fullback. And what I was saying about that is fullbacks are so archaic. You don't throw the ball to a fullback, really. Right? Not typically. But an H-back, you do. And they do the same similarities, and they can line up in the line of scrimmage. They can line up off the line a little bit, and they can line up directly in the backfield. Right? So I can see him coming in, and again, the Giants having a big jumbo package because some of their receivers are nicked up or they're playing power 12 personnel with, two tight ends. This guy could be either your second tight end or your fullback, and you can do a lot of things from that in the goal line or red zone situations. So if you look at what an offense like Brian Daboll does, is you have, I wouldn't say playmakers, but skilled position players that can do everything on the field. Versatility, catch the ball, block, but you're going to see a lot more traditional offense than you think. Because that fits what Daniel Jones does. I know a lot of people want to think Josh Allen RPOs. They're not running RPOs. I don't think they're going to be running the RPOs the same way you think they're going to. They're going to incorporate that into their offense, but I think they're going to want to be a traditional drop back screen, bubble screen, deep passing, occasionally 11 personnel offense, but I think they're also going to run a lot of 12 personnel, 2 tight ends, a guy in motion, old school type of thinking, with new school concepts. And what I mean by that is the jet sweeps, the reverses, guys like that. When you bring in gadget guys like that, that's something you want to bring in your offense because you need to disguise when those guys come in. Okay? So, that's been another edition of the Hurry Up. I'm your host, Adam. We're going to get in, like I said, May the 4th be with you. NFC Roundup. It's going to be lit. And Premium Takes, another thing that we go over all sports. Great show last night. Look for that. Get some views up on that. If you like what you hear, subscribe, ring the bell. Let's go. Big Blue New York Football Giants.